At the GPS board meeting March 11th, Richard Vance accused Rob Schutema of making poor judgments in his life, stating you do not see any legal wrongs that have been done with special education funding.
I will address. May I address my colleague? Okay. Rob, I think you have expressed poor judgment in your own life. Because basically, you know what we discussed. And you're sitting here and you're stating that you do not see any legal wrongs that have been done with the special ed funding.
I never said that.
You most certainly did.
I said that I don't see anything yet because the investigation is not complete.
In the January special meeting, Rob did not vote to remove Brett Zuver as he felt that the resignation was forced, and the board was being fiscally irresponsible to make this change. He did not feel there was enough information yet. At the end of this clip, you can hear Sabrina also say it was in best interest to move forward after reading the report in closed session.
To state, and I won't go into a lot of detail because I know that we were coming out of closed session. But it is my feeling that our superintendent was forced into this resignation and pressured by this board and this board president to do so. I understand that he has been under a lot of stress with a lot of personal and professional things going on. So I just want to say that Brett Zuver is a good man. He was a good superintendent, and I feel like he has been unjustly treated, especially over the last year and a half. And I feel like this resignation was forced upon him.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Any other discussion?
My other comment is that as a district, I also feel like when we have to look at fiscal prudence, is it in our best interest to pay a severance, also pay an interim, and then possibly look at other positions as well. So we have a highly effective and effective rated superintendent who has been doing wonders for this district. To me, it makes the most sense to keep him on.
With the information provided, I disagree. I feel we've all seen enough to know that it was in our best interest to move forward. I think you see the same things I see.
I'm in disagreement, but that's okay.
Back and forth, please.
In March, Rob again stated that the investigation at the time was incomplete, yet a decision had been made.
I feel and echo what some of the people have gone up and said, that this board, it was not the whole board didn't know anything about the investigation really, other than there was one in mid to late January, the week of our special board meeting. And instead of going in there and receiving the information and then going, okay, what are our next steps with this further investigation? Because what I heard in there was an incomplete investigation. There were several key things that had not been done yet, but yet a decision was made, and a decision was made that has a compensation package tied to it, and it also then moved two of our key people in a very important building in the middle school.
The investigation they are referring to was by the school legal team, Clark Hill, and the investigation insinuated there had been criminal activity with special education funding. The report insinuated administration other than the superintendent and special ed teacher named was also involved. This investigation was started by President Ken Thorne and cost the district $26,000.
When the investigation is complete.
But as a leader, when you are presented information, sometimes you have to make a quick decision based on what's brought before you. And you've chosen not to accept the wrong. And so when we have the state moving in, they're going to agree that there's been wrong. NC RESA, The reason why they're stepping in, because they are ultimately also responsible for special funding. So therefore, that's why they're asking for the information, because they know that part of their neck is on the line also with the state. And so for us to sit here and have you not accept the legalities and what's been violated, it's beyond my comprehension how you can do resources are a waste of time. And we are in a position as a district, we've got to get moving forward. Things have been dragging, and we are still facing the possibilities of consequences with the state. We still got to deal with that because of bad decisions, bad actions by other people. Whether that person or those people are good or whatever their intentions were, whatever, it doesn't matter. They still violated state law, and we are going to face the consequences of that.
Richard repeatedly stated that there were going to be fiscal and criminal issues with the state when he attacked Rob's character in open meeting. He states that the MDE is going to agree that there was wrongdoings and the decisions had to be made with the facts in front of them without the investigation being complete. He speaks multiple times during the meeting about this. Creso was finally informed, and the Michigan Department of Education, MDE, was called in to investigate.
Right now, all of our schools are preparing for a special education audit stemming from our special education investigation that we had dating back to 2022-23 to 2023-24. The MD will be physically in district on March 20th. They're conducting a physical audit at that time.
Kevin, could you give us a brief explanation of how did MDE come to be involved in moving forward with an investigation?
Well, anytime you're dealing with flow through, money and special ed reporting, they typically get a phone call. And that's just what they do. We would have made the call ourselves if we would have gotten the reports back quicker than what the investigation took. We would have self-reported.
So is this a result of, we regularly have to submit support reports to them, correct?
Yeah.
So was this due to what was or wasn't reported? Or a combination?
Combination.
Were we late in getting reports out?
No.
No.
Just what was, financially, what was coming in, and then just implementation of IEPs and things.
Okay. So does the investigation revolve strictly around just the financial, or what all?
No, they're going to come in and look at everything. Okay, we open the door. They're going to come in and look at everything we do in our special ed realm. They're going to want accommodation logs. They're going to check individual IEPs on a select few students, and they're going to look at our processes and procedures.
Okay. So what type of disciplinary actions can they move forward with?
Well, they're probably going to issue corrective action plans, but we won't know that until probably the 20th that afternoon. I would assume they're going to tell us what they found and issue corrective action plans at that time.
The board voted to release the special education report by Clark Hill so the community could FOIA, at their cost, to view the report. MDE and CRESA completed an audit on March 20th, and that audit and investigation showed no criminal activity or issues. There were issues found with IEPS and record keeping, and those items were put on corrective action and are being worked on by the school.
On to action item A1, approval of resolution to release special ed funding internal investigation report. Get to that page.
Yeah, the Michigan Department of Education will be conducting their own investigation into improper use of special education funding because of decisions made by our past superintendent. The MDE will visit later this month, and NC RESA will be sitting in and observing and collecting information. NC RESA has requested copies of the reports that have been prepared and presented to us by Clark Hill, PLC. NC RISA is requesting this information ahead of the MD visit, and I am sure that we will also be sharing this information with the MD. This includes 2 reports. First is a report that was presented to the board in closed session at the special board meeting in January when we accepted Brett's resignation. The second is the follow-up report that we received a couple of weeks ago after the additional interviews were completed. Sharing such information requires that the board take specific action. In fully cooperating with NC RISA, I prepared a resolution to waive attorney-client privilege on these reports only. Waiving such privilege will allow us to share these reports with NC RISA, and it will also make them public record that is subject to FOIA.
All right, so we do have a resolution in the packet. If somebody would make the motion by reading the resolution, please.
Grant Public Schools Board of Education Resolution. Resolution to release special ed funding internal investigation final reports. Whereas the Grant Public Schools Board of Education President had authorized Clark Hill PLC to investigate the use of special education funding. And whereas the initial investigation report, RE Superintendent Brett Zuver, and dated January 26, 2024, concluded and was presented to the board at a special board meeting in closed session on January 26, 2024, raised additional questions prompting an additional level of investigation. And whereas the additional level of investigation memo titled Investigation of Special Education Concerns and dated February 26, 2024 has been presented to the interim superintendent and available for board member review. And whereas special education funding flows through NC RISA and NC RISA has requested copies of the investigation reports. Now therefore be it resolved, the Grant Public Schools Board of Education hereby waives attorney-client privilege for these 2 reports only. Any public disclosure of these reports will still be subject to any other legal exemptions for confidential information under state and federal law, including Michigan's Freedom of Information Act, Michigan School Code, and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act.
All right, thank you, Superintendent. Do we have a second?
Support.
All right, any discussion on this?
The MDE audit was free and cost nothing to the district. They found the special investigation by the board to show no illegal issues, and the investigations on special education were closed. Again, nothing was found other than record-keeping and IEP violations. At the cost of $26,000 to the district, which the MDE did for free.
The last one was the special ed grant writing investigation. Currently, we're at $26,822.41 on that.
The Board of Education not only spent thousands of dollars to force the superintendent to resign, $26,000 for legal fees and $143,000 severance to Brett Zuver, but all their accusations were false. Richard Vance defamated the character of Rob Schutema in open meeting as well, for no reason as the allegations were false. And Rob chose to wait until the investigations were complete to form an opinion. And those accusations were made against only individuals who have spoken out against them over board and community issues. Really think about who you want on the school board and make sure you vote on May 7th.